Hey, hey, we're back.
Yeah, GamerDan, moniker included. Yeah,
Yes. Oh, that's a good point.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, we were talking about the fears of Nintendo bricking systems,
Yeah.
the limit to how far they're willing to go. We do have confirmation from a noble soul who bricked his Switch 2 and put it up online. He put all the evidence. He went through the process and showed exactly what happens. We did fear that he would brick the account because his account worked on his Switch 1, but his Switch 2 was his primary device. So there was
Ooh.
a genuine concern there.
Yeah, yeah.
But it does work. They brick the device itself. I mean, if you buy a new one, yeah, you can still it still works, and your account will still work with it. So that's good. I mentioned I had 2 points I wanted to make. One was fear that bad actors and trolls in time will find a way to get around this and begin infecting other people's devices and just have a whole swath of people having their devices bricked, not just accounts blocked, which then could be unblocked at a later date, but their devices bricked through the actions of another, and that's maybe it'll never happen. Maybe Nintendo's savvy to this. Maybe they learn their lesson. Hell, they've been working with From Software, and just
Yeah.
cough. Water cooler talk chat, and like, hey, beware of this. Just add this line of code. It'll screw those trolls. Here's hoping.
Yeah.
My second point is that recently in a lot of videos I have talked extensively about this new device I'm quite excited about, the Switch, this slide, because I am increasingly becoming more interested in the larger gaming scene. And by larger scene, I mean that the old the old way was the device holders. They were the console producers. They made their money on the back end. They made their consoles at a loss, but people bought games and headsets and controllers, and those things were pretty pricey. Especially the officially licensed ones. So you it's a loss leader. It's a business strategy called loss leading, where you lead with a device that's made at cost. You take a loss on that, but you
Mm.
make a lot of money backwards, but on the
Yep.
back end. Like a
Sainsbury's.
great example, printers.
Oh,
Printers
very good.
are you can
Yeah.
get high quality printers really cheap. You're like, yeah, that's amazing, but ink, you're boned. Those things are crazy expensive, and you will always need more ink. So they make their money on that. McDonald's, they don't make as a corporate entity. They make their money on real estate, but
Yeah.
even within their store, they don't make money on burgers. They make their money on fries and cokes. That's where the money is made. They make their burgers at cost. It costs them more money to produce the burger than other things. But the fries and the coke, man, it's such a markup. They make
Mm.
so much more than it costs to make them that a burger like a set is cost effective. They make money on that because it includes the fries and the drink.
That's right.
Um, and yeah, it's a very effective strategy. If you can afford the upfront cost of that initial loss, you can make a lot more money on the back end. You got to spend money to make money. That's where that term comes from, I think,
Yeah.
or at least it's indicative of it.
It's relevant. Yeah.
But traditionally, the gaming scene was ruled by the great powers, the companies that produced a device, and then other companies would make apps, would make programs that you played on their devices, and that's the companies themselves. We had a lot of first-party developers in house that produced exclusives that got people excited to buy their console. They didn't make a lot of money on the console, maybe a little, but it was essentially loss leading. They needed that console in your place because most people weren't going to have. Traditionally, most people didn't buy every console. You had one, maybe two.
Mm.
You pick the ones that you were going to play,
Yeah.
and then you made them. The company made the money on the games because they got a cut of every game sold, even if it was third party. You're playing it on their console, so
Right.
they get a little taste of
Mm-hmm.
which good business strategy. But the world is changing. It's diversifying. We are more connected now than we've ever been, and technology is progressing at such a pace that people are able to break free of this system. We're seeing, you know, between other entities producing high-end devices, to even Chinese companies releasing pretty decent objects, there is a much wider world of consoles.
Consoles, yeah.
Yeah, so if Nintendo is dead set on bricking their devices, if you mod them, it used to be you had to mod the primary devices because they were the only ones on the market. Now it feels less like people will turn away from the Switch 2 as their primary gaming device, choose something else that they can mod, and just play the Switch 2 games on that. And it's only a matter of time before people crack the security on these games. I mean, part of the reason why they're going almost entirely digital is because it's much harder to get the data off the device. So, with a physical cartridge, all you need to do is take apart your device, plug it into a PC, and then backwards convert it. Work backwards.
But yeah, I dropped this quickly before we. What you said about the lost leader is very interesting. So it would indicate that. I mean, even I heard some people saying that the Switch 2's third parties aren't seeing much ROI, return on investment. So maybe this is why Nintendo are thinking, we need to mark up the Switch, and because now here's the thing, practices like these are stinging people at the moment. They're bricking the consoles. Not only does it give you a bad name on the street, if you will. I keep talking about street cred. I mean, Nintendo really should capitalize on this chat feature to try and bring people in instead of blocking people out and saying, play by our rules or I'm taking my ball going home. You learn to be social for goodness sake at some point. If Nintendo want to keep doing this, they're going to send people away, including the third parties that they were lucky to get back once the Switch came along. They tried to get them back with after the Wii, and the Wii was all family friendly, and the third party said, we maybe you're not the console for us. They thought, the Wii U, you come back then, but the Wii U, it was a bit shaky. I mean, okay, it's a good console, but I don't think it really revived Nintendo's hardcore gamer audience like the Switch did. When the Switch came along and it brought a lot of third party people back in, the Switch 2, if it's going to get the street cred back down again, and then to a deficit, just over this locking people out thing, which of course maybe people get used to it, but basically this is not the end of it. It can sour the taste of Nintendo third party versus now. It's not to mention people who make it so much, and then which get a refund, and then unless the store are told to, what, before we take this back from you, let's make sure we didn't brick the Switch so we can give you a refund. But what people did that? I want a refund. This is the Switch. It sucks. This is a lot. Money back, please. By the way, it's brick. Or somebody I'm sure you just say down the line, figure out how to unbrick the Switch for one, or two, like you say, just mess around with people. Once you've got all that going on, it's a big old distraction, a big headache for third parties. Not worth investing in Nintendo for. And then all we have left is marking up the Switch too. But we're saying that
potentially.
What do you think?
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I just think that the Switch 2 is in a really unique situation because its predecessor was inarguably one of the greatest consoles of all time.
Yeah.
Just massively successful. And unlike traditional Nintendo fare, which is to create a brand new console each iteration, this is just an upgraded version. This is just basically Switch Pro. It's just like a souped up Switch. It's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit fat, it's very faster, admittedly, but it's bigger, it's better, but it's the same device, same form factor, and it's backwards compatible. So people who buy Switch 2 immediately already have a library of games. I've seen a number of videos up and a lot of people talking about the playability and the kind of performance of older games on the new device because they have a library of games they can already play. Now, everyone's playing the first-party games because Nintendo's first parties are quite good. People play Nintendo games for Nintendo consoles for Nintendo games. And Cyberpunk has done pretty well because that was almost preordained. This is a self-contained game. Everything in the game is a single purchase, including extras, and it's perfectly in keeping with the original design, the vision of what the game should be. We all remember the truly disastrous launch of that game. But no, it has gone through a bit of a renaissance. It's come back up, and now apparently people who play it are like, "Oh, this game is great." I'm like, "Yeah, but I remember it launching." Like, "Yeah, well, it's good." And for most games, now it's good isn't good enough. But it's interesting because now the Cyberpunk is good. People have a brand new first time. It's just like, oh, it's on the Switch too. It's almost like a second first launch. You know, they're launching the game the way it should be on this kind of device. So that game's doing pretty well. But otherwise, according to Polygon, 80% of all the sales have been Nintendo titles. Have either been to Mario World or Switch 2 versions of previous Switch games. Only 20% of the entire games sold have been third party. And that might be because most of them are older games. They've been out on other consoles for a while. You know, there's little to nothing available, if not nothing available that wasn't available before. You know, and the Switch is expensive. It's off-putting. So why would you spend more money on a device when you could get it cheaper on another console, and you know it works fine? So I think it's not a great start, but Nintendo are trying to build up steam. They're going to release a lot of games coming out. I'm sure you've noticed a bit of a hullabaloo about Metroid Prime 4. There was in London. Those of you who don't know, in London, the central network, these underground systems, called the London Underground subway system. Very famous. It's been around for decades and decades. It was used during the war as bomb shelters. But during a bit of a clean, kind of putting ads up, someone snapped a picture of a mistake of an inaccurate poster. They were sent the wrong poster. They put the wrong poster up. It said Metroid Prime 4 on Switch 2 out now. And someone took a picture and put it up on social media, and it went like wildfire. I mean, this was more virulent than COVID. This thing was more virulent than the Black Plague. Everyone was like, out now, out now. Wait, what am I missing? What am I missing? Is this a shadow drop? Were they planning on covering up the out now with a sticker, and then next week going, it's out now? Are we going to get Metroid Prime 4? Are we going to get Metroid Prime 4 before Donkey Kong? What? And they were, Nintendo checked it out. It turned out it was just a simple case of they got sent the wrong poster. Someone sent the wrong image. It was supposed to be coming soon, and then they would update it with out now. They went with the second rather than the first, but a lot of people were like, panicking and frothing because they were excited. But again, that's a first-party game. It's not third-party, it's a first-party game. I think that because the Switch 2 is built off the back of the Switch, it's going to be a while before we get a large body of third-party games. But, the director's already shown that there is, some robust support. It's just not happening straight away. Switch had a long lifespan. Longer than most consoles, and it didn't start out with a massive library. It was people were generally buying first parties at the beginning to build up steam, So I give it a little bit of time, but you're absolutely right. It is quite. I mean, according to a quote, what does it say? Below our lowest expectation. Literally. Switch 2 third-party sales are in trouble. They were below our lowest. Like, literally, worst case scenario. Went even worse than that. That's painful. But the videos don't have a lot that I can't get elsewhere cheaper. So, screw it.
Speaking of which, about direct, I mean, I guess it's only because we got direct right at the moment. You can see what Nintendo therefore are going to do in terms of selling games. That's what I do think about this game that we're going to cover in a few minutes. So they're going to look at the fact with the first parties that are the debut pieces. As you said, it's going to be Christmas, and when we get close to Christmas, when we can expect to see things pick up. They're laying the groundwork, it's like eating the food you don't want to eat, practically eating the bread or this whole working the system. But honestly, it may sound pretty gross to me, and I hope if it's legally given to be so, I hope it's going to get legalized. But if it is necessary, then I understand why they're trying to get it out of the way. so that people say
Maybe.
we think that was proper coding, and we have to make sure that new things come out in the computer that we have done and secure. People feel like it's worth it, they want to do because it's secure or something. But so far, so I'm totally agree. But I'm also really minded if you will, we can do this come out about this, but mostly so far, we'll see. Okay, we'll see. But I want to see that direction.
Poor quality, like your microphone's poor quality, but
Oh my God,
I'm
one
losing
sorry,
you.
mate. 1, 2,
That's better.
3.
Nope, you're gone completely. Ah, the joys of tech. It works until it doesn't. Kind of like this Switch 2, apparently. Nope, still can't hear you. Yeah, it's interesting. I hope the Switch 2 and the upcoming the PlayStation and Microsoft consoles that have been announced or been rumored keep up with the exclusives and upcoming games, because there is a growing ecosystem of consoles that exist outside of the big companies, and these things play most of the retro games or out the box. You buy this thing, you open it up, you turn it on, and then you immediately start playing games. Nothing else is required. Now,
Yeah.
so there's if Nintendo continues to make it more difficult to buy their games, there are some pretty good options outside it. Trouble is that people want to play the new stuff.
Yeah,
It's nice to
you
go
also,
back and play old games, but there will always be people will always want the new game. So
sorry, but my mic is fixed, people. 1, 2, 3.
yes,
Yeah,
much
yeah.
better.
So anyway, the last thing I'll say before we just press play on the direct because time is running. Like we checked out the video last week, which I uploaded late on purpose, people. But sorry, there's method to my madness. Yeah, Nintendo. Some people say Nintendo sell nostalgia, and some people argue against that with what's going on here and saying that about this nostalgia they're selling. I don't know, man, because what's going on with these business practices are not all that plausible. But at the same time, it's also nostalgic to remember Nintendo don't play. When it comes to this clapping on people. So maybe that was always Nintendo's way. The trick is Nintendo want to be able to sell old stuff on their consoles. Yes, there are other devices that can play retro games. I can do it on my computer, on my Mac, or whatever, and stream it. People for your viewing pleasure and mine too. But as GamerDan does. So the trick is I mean, I know GamerDan use the Steam deck. In fact, GamerDan, do you use the Steam Deck or do you use Steam on the side to watch
No,
videos?
I usually use a Steam Deck.
It's
It's just a better device for gaming than my actual PC. My PC is quite a slim, live little thing. It's good for work. It's just not good for
right.
anything more robust than that. That's why one of these reasons why I got the Steam Deck, so that I could play PC games.
Properly.
And the Switch proved that portability was just a real selling factor. Instead of
Yeah.
coming home and turning on the TV and turning on the console and sitting down and going, I'm going to play here. I'd be able to play anywhere. It's just
Yeah.
so much more accessible.
Yeah, funny. Yeah, so now with all these options, Nintendo still want to feel like they can still draw you to their device. I mean, it'll be Nintendo would be kicking themselves thinking, oh man, imagine. I mean, now what? We were the Game Boy Kings, and we were still the Game Boy Kings during the Switch era. Um, so you don't want people to say, you know what, forget you, I'm going to use another Game Boy knockoff or some not knockoff, but
No,
a
fair. It's not entirely wrong. I mean, I bought mine because it had the same shape and design as an SP from by
yes.
Nintendo. This was such a good design. I was like, yo, I'll take the knockoff. It just
Yeah,
happens that the
exactly.
knockoff is stronger and can play more than an SP. So
It's like a bloody Street Fighter Rainbow Edition situation where
yeah,
it's
at this
like
point, the Chinese knockoff is better than the original. At which point, do you call do you call it a knockoff, or is it
exactly
a homage? Is it a rip-off?
yeah, or just it's an upgrade. I mean, again, this Rainbow Edition thing. Street Fighter was like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and the Rainbow Edition said, no, it's broke. Or if you will, let's just show you what you can do if you just think for a change. And then, when companies get too locked into their way. it really spawns a mutiny, or if you will.
No, you're
So
quite right. Companies famously are incredibly difficult to adapt to times. They'll want to take advantage of it. They'll promote all the new political and social changes. They'll make their brands rainbow during June. They will they'll add some snow and Christmas trees on the top of their designs for Christmas or for Easter or for Juneteenth, which oh yeah, great, yeah, but their corporate strategy is the same thing they've done for the last 50 years. And anytime any new technology comes out, any new devices come out, it's just like, yo, how do we just keep doing the same thing, but we just add this in? They don't want to change the way the company works. They just want to have the appearance of acceptance and change. Like, oh yeah, we will sell you new stuff, but as long as inside we're still doing the same thing.
brilliant breakdown. It's Malibu Stacy new hat situation.
Yeah. No, it's a Malibu Stacy's new hat.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the same old Malibu Stacy, but with a new hat. Yeah.
I want it.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, is that if this company is selling the thing that you like, that's what hurts. Is that these are companies that have the control over a passion, a hobby, a part of my, I love gaming so much, I call myself a gamer. I've made it part of my identity, which means that when they have that much control over something that's so integral to me, yeah, my natural reaction as a human being, if someone insults gaming or even insults Nintendo, my want is to defend them, because it feels like a personal slight, and that's something that I've actually had to work on, because it is human. It is human to want to defend the things you love. And if you love a hobby or a place or a team, and that's a big part of your life, that's a big part of how you get a lot of joy, community from it, of course you're going to defend it, even when that criticism is warranted. Which is why at the beginning of our video, we said we are true fans, and true fans can be critical, because it's only the bandwagon followers, it's only people who are there superfluously or temporarily who are like, oh, you can't do that. No. True fans will dig deep.
That's it. And bro, oh my gosh, everybody, just so you know, sorry, I'm still moving, so I guess I don't want to say something else, but I'm going to shut up now. And let's see, I guess we'll get to the direct.
So let's just we're quickly going to burn through the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct. We want to end the video with a little bit of something more fun. We talked about Nintendo Switch the Nintendo Switch 2 kind of being anti-consumer, but here's pro-consumer. This is a really great Direct. It's very exciting. It's very colourful, bright. It looks to be like, wow, firing on all cylinders. This is heartwarming. It is exciting because it shows that, despite all the bumps, the products that they are producing for this device, they are worth the time. Super Mario World it's crazy popular. People are really enjoying it. It's very successful. Nintendo make great games, and this is a good example of it. This looks freaking amazing. I am so excited. So we'll just jump straight in. Screen sharing, sound on, let's do this.
We came to Japan, people. We love it.
I'm gonna say it's like number 3, number 4, number 3, probably in the top 5. Top 5 of these I came here. I came here for the food primarily.
Yo, bro, me too. And my wife, of course.
We'll not go on yet, but give it time.
What's this? Have you seen it?
When the hole looks so dark and deep, heart is rock, cold as stone. I was scared alone. Then your beat showed the way to you.
He's completely different from Donkey Kong Country. He's not cool.
I like his visual redesign. I know that it's a way to differentiate from Rare's, because Rare is not a company that's affiliated with Nintendo anymore. It's owned by Microsoft. So they've kind of gone back to an earlier design and made this is the similar style to the Mario movie, and this is now the new Donkey Kong style, but he's very animated, he's very visually representative, because he doesn't talk, he has to tell you how he's feeling from his face. You see the same thing in animation with characters that have masks. Spider-Man, Deadpool, Daredevil, because they are covering up, especially their eyes, it's hard to emote their emotions. So the mask has to do a lot to show those feelings. It's why in the live-action versions of Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds really, really emotes, and he kind of goes. He speaks quickly. He speaks very verbose about what's going on. And Donkey Kong's faces, very, very expressive. I like that.
Yeah, from our acting experienced people, it's easier to act with the mask sometimes, the bodily. All the actions just come out in the body.
That face. It was a chick.
Golden Bananas, the discovery of the century, made right here on Ingot Isle. This is excellent news for #1 banana fan, Donkey Kong. However, just as he's about to enjoy the notable bananas, a sudden...
Look at that! Look how great that face is. That's a solid face. Even the eyes are different sizes because he's in shock. He's like, what?
Yeah, you know, I like it more than I thought I'd like it. To be honest, when I saw, oh my gosh, played Mario Kart Wii, oh my gosh, and you hear the something like that. I was like, man, what happened to the cool looking from the rear? But when I see this, I'm like, this is funny. His cheeks are something they're falling around his eyes. You know?
Yeah, it's a great redesign. I think it's a very excited, very kind of animated face. He feels like he's got depth, he's got layers to him. Like he can emote a lot of feelings.
Tempest sends him deep down underground. As his adventure begins, DK teams up with Odd Rock, but it's no rock at all. It's actually a talented young singer named Pauline.
Oh, sorry, not Daisy. Pauline. Oh my God.
Pauline was the name of the girl from the very first Donkey Kong game. When you played as Mario going up the girders, the woman you were chasing was Pauline. He was Mario's original girlfriend. She had kind of a revival. She came back in later games as kind of a sultry seductress and also a political figure. But she's always been directly tied to Donkey Kong because she was the chick from the Donkey Kong games. Peach is officially Mario's #1 lady. But Pauline is absolutely the kind of girl you would cheat on Peach with. Like,
check out Dorkly, people, if you don't know. There's a funny sketch of Dorkly's Pauline coming home drunk to see Mario drunk texting him, and Peach is jealous, and he comes up with the raccoon's Tanuki suit, with the tail being in between his legs. Anyway, I'll let you check out their stuff.
Dorkly's always a good decision.
Oh, just wants bananas. And Pauline wants to find a way back home to the surface. It's said that one's wish will be granted by reaching the planet core. So the unlikely duo set off on a strange subterranean adventure. The story takes place in the underground world, where the scenery changes the deeper you go. Some layers are so spectacular that it's hard to believe you're underground.
So look at that. That's beautiful. That is a fantastic beach level, but narratively we're underground. We're going deeper and deeper towards the Earth's surface. Clever.
Yeah.
DK can run, jump, and climb through each environment. Using his incredible physical prowess, you can freely move in any direction. But that's not all. Almost anything in your path, you can smash, crash, and bash. You can...
See, this is a really fully destructible environment. Is such a great premise because it gives you absolute freedom to go anywhere. But if you destroy the entire map, how are you going to complete the level? You've got to be wary about how much you do. Like,
you can even do this to a massive rock formation. If you want. As you barrel through obstacles in your path, you'll also collect golden bananas, known as Banandium Gems. More on those later. Let's take a look at some of the things this Kong can do. Punch. Smash enemies. Walls. The ground. And most things you can get your hands on. With incredible
Very violent stuff, isn't it?
destruction can lead.
It's amazing. I love that. When you kick the enemy, you hit, punch him to break his outer shell, so his inner core is available. And you kick that, breaks him into like pieces of gold you can collect. But he also does deformation to the terrain. So
Right.
objects,
That's clever.
everything connects to everything, and everything can influence everything else. That's nice. That's a really. It really shows off the prowess of the device of the Switch 2.
To discoveries. So set off a chain reaction and see what happens. Dive punch.
Morph the world. The Switch was really about morphing the world, kind of delving into the world in more depth. And I think we haven't really seen, we've seen Mario Kart World in this so far. I think we need to see more games to show off what it can do.
I'm excited for Metroid Prime 4 because there's a throwaway line in the first trailer for it that says that the entire world that she's on is situated around a central tree. So the whole this is one giant kind of world tree that she's going to be going on, but obviously working her way around it, up and down it. That could show off some pretty impressive things.
Yeah, that's not like it. Yeah.
So,
I'm
just going to skip ahead in the trailer to some of the more interesting things that are available. Now, this is important. You can throw the pieces of ground. You can grab the ground, tear it up, create projectiles, and throw them. So that the entire ground is not just destructible, it's also usable.
Or aim at a target like this. Throwing a boom rock or gold can have explosive effects. If you throw chunks made of softer material, you can stick them to a surface and pile them up.
So the ground is not only deformable, but actually creatable. You can build your own platforms using different kinds of materials.
Are you for real? No, wait.
Yeah.
Did you do this in what's the game called? The vertical game of Zelda after the Tears of the Kingdom. Is Tears of the Kingdom, isn't it? The one
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom is it's the vertical one when you go down to the underground into the sky.
Sorry,
With that one, you could create vehicles. You could take objects and you could create replications of them. So you could replicate objects and put them together. But this one is just absolute deformation of the world. Like he's just grabbing. Look, you can even see here, he's torn chunks off of the sand away, which is slowly filling with salt water as the waves go up, and he's put it on. But because the sand is softer than the initial rock, it just sticks to it. So if you took grass and dirt and you threw it at a stone wall, you could build platforms to climb up terrain.
That's unheard of. That is
Very impressive. I say it's very impressive. Like I say, the destructible. You had me at the destructible environment, but constructible.
No way.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that are some of the big announcements, but we're going to quickly show off one of the most important things. Here we are. Oh, Cranky Kong's back. Hey. And Rambi, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, we get to ride him. That's cool.
Are also venturing through the layers of the world. Then there are the giant elders who call the underground world home. They're said to possess ancient bonanza powers. By learning their bonanza powers, Pauline's singing can do something special. She can make Donkey Kong transform.
Super Saiyan Donkey Kong. Dude.
Holy.
I love this design. I love that they use bananas as his Super Saiyan hair, but he's got all the little accents the same as the elders. Like he's just like an elder form.
I wish I had my t-shirt. My t-shirt.
Yeah,
With incredible destructive power, even hard terrain poses no problem. Plow through the world and smash as much as possible with the powerful
Watch this. This is impressive. So he charges up a punch, and
Calm Bonanza.
shockwaves of deformation. Just like he shoots a wave of force out, destroying everything in front of him. He is like crazy powerful, but it's a temporary boost.
Plus, DK can transform into a zebra. He's as speedy as he is striped. He can even breeze over water or crumbling pathways.
Animation movie that's become a game. If it's like a movie that's become a game, you know, like if you Kung Fu Panda,
That's the
before, I
sweat.
think he could this
Zebra
transforming
banana.
character.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But
No way.
then we got Donkey Kong increases his strength. You've got Zebra that increases his speed, and
Bonanza. Oh yeah, he can also turn into an ostrich. A flying ostrich. Spread your wings and soar through the sky.
what the ostrich was a character, one of the
first
animal
one.
helpers.
Yeah, oh my gosh, what's his name again? Skippy or Speedy or something like that.
Yeah.
You can use updrafts to gain more air.
Gain air to get around, and the eggs that are following him.
Then drop egg bombs from great heights to send enemies scattering. That's right, it's Ostrich Bonanza!
That's cool.
This is the FU to Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, this does show off. We're gonna have to stop here. We've got a few minutes left, but it's a little taster of the direct. I recommend literally take the time, go watch it all. There's a lot more information, a lot of amazing things out there. There is an RPG system. As you're getting these bananas and banana chips, that's basically a currency that supercharges Donkey Kong, able to upgrade his abilities. So you can make him stronger, tougher, crazy new abilities. I am so excited. It looks so good. It looks so interesting. It's basically a collectathon, classic rare style collectathon. Going to a territory, and you've just got to find all the bananas. You've got to find all the fossils, find all the items. Wow. But you've got all these crazy abilities to do so. There is a story going on, but we don't know much about the story as of yet. With that, we have to end quickly. Yeah. But thank you for coming in. Do watch this. Do go and watch the direct. It's very impressive, and it just gives me hope that Nintendo has some great games coming up.
Yeah, I think it's good to end on this high note because we started out. I don't want to be doomy, but it's been healthily critical, healthily skeptical. But now, boy, I guess
remember, true fans are critical. With that, peace.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Peace, people. Until next time. Have a good.
Bye.